Since ChatGPT launched, over 500,000 American white-collar workers have lost their jobs. That's 1.7 times the damage of the first 2 years of the 2008 financial crisis. And nobody is calling it a recession, because GDP looks fine. It isn't fine. We're living through the fastest knowledge economy collapse in modern history, and the data is screaming it. Here's the setup. Over the last 40 years, every advanced economy bet its future on services: finance, software, consulting, marketing, legal, admin. The US, UK, Germany, France, Japan, Canada all pushed services employment past 70% of their workforce. Some, like the UK and US, are above 80%. India and Korea built the cheap labor backbone of that same system. This wasn't just a job mix, it was an economic identity. We told a generation, get a degree, work with your brain, and you'll be safe from automation. That promise just expired. Because the more services dependent your economy is, the more exposed you are to the only technology in history that specifically targets cognitive labor. AI doesn't replace welders. It replaces analysts, writers, coders, paralegals, and customer support, the exact people who make up that 80% wedge. Look at the chart. The countries highest on this line are not the winners of the AI age. They're the targets. Now, the counter-argument. Every economist on TV says, unemployment is near record lows. Stop panicking. Wrong question. Unemployment counts people actively looking for work. It misses everyone who gave up, retired early, or shifted into gig work. The honest metric is the employment-to-population ratio. What share of working-age adults actually have a job? And among degreed knowledge workers, advanced education unemployment has been climbing in the US, UK, and Germany since 2022. While overall, employment to population in these knowledge-heavy economies has stalled or reversed. In the US, the unemployment rate for college grads has risen faster than the rate for high school grads, historically unprecedented. For the first time on record, having a degree is becoming a liability, not an insurance policy. The headline number lies. The composition tells the truth. Want to see the hollowing in one chart? Employment to population ratio. This is the number that exposed the 2008 crisis years before politicians admitted it. From 2008 to 2010, the U.S. ratio collapsed from 63% to 58%, and it never fully recovered. Look at what's happening now in the US, UK, and Germany. The post-COVID rebound has stalled. Japan and Korea are aging, so they look stable. But in the knowledge economy core, the Anglo-German bloc, participation is flat or sliding while the population grows. That means jobs are not keeping up with people, even as GDP rips upward. This is what a silent recession looks like. No layoff headlines for a full month, then a 14,000-person cut at Microsoft, then Google, then Meta, then Citi. Slow, then all at once. The ratio sees it. The unemployment rate doesn't. Here's the magic trick. In 2008, GDP per capita cratered, down 3.6% in the US, down 5.1% in the UK, down 5.7% in Germany. The pain was loud. Today, GDP per capita is growing. The US posted 2% plus growth in 2023. The economy looks great on paper. So where are the jobs going? Productivity. AI is letting companies produce the same output with fewer workers. That gain shows up in GDP per worker, not in payrolls, not in wages. In 2008, when GDP fell, jobs fell with it. In 2024, GDP rises and jobs vanish at the same time. This is the first recession in history where the economy wins and workers lose simultaneously. It's deindustrialization in reverse. The factories of the mind are closing, but the output line keeps climbing. Now, zoom out. Services as a share of GDP. This is the exposure map. The UK gets 72% of its economic output from services, France 70%, the US 77%, Germany around 63%. These aren't just employment numbers, this is value creation. The more an economy depends on services, the more its GDP rests on knowledge workers who can now be substituted by software. Compare that to Korea and Japan, where manufacturing still anchors output, or India, where services are growing but from a lower base and largely export-driven. The Western knowledge economy is the most concentrated economic bet in history, and it's the bet AI is specifically built to win against. Countries that spent 40 years offshoring factories to specialize in thinking jobs just discovered that thinking is the easiest part to automate. One last chart, the comparison that should be on every front page. Put the 2008 white-collar contraction next to the post-2022 one. Same countries, same metric, different decade. In 2008, advanced education unemployment rose roughly 1.5 points across the OECD over 2 years. Since late 2022, it's risen faster in the US and UK, while broader services employment growth has decelerated to its weakest non-recession pace in 30 years. The shape of the curves is identical. The only difference is that nobody called 2008 a productivity miracle. Today we do, because the people losing jobs are the same people who write the headlines. Here's the verdict. AI hasn't caused a recession. It's caused something worse, a recession that doesn't show up in GDP, doesn't trigger stimulus, and doesn't generate political urgency. The 2008 crash destroyed roughly 300,000 white-collar jobs in 2 years and triggered a global policy response. AI has destroyed over 500,000 in 18 months and triggered a stock market rally. The economies that bet hardest on knowledge work, the US, UK, Germany, are the most exposed, and their workers are the least protected because we built a safety net for factory closures, not for cognitive automation. This isn't a forecast. It's already in the data. The white-collar recession is here. It's just invisible to the metrics we were taught to watch. If you want the charts the financial press won't show you, subscribe. I make one data-driven video a week tearing apart the numbers that actually matter, not the ones that make the headlines.